August 18, 2004, the Communist Party of the Philippines and the National Democratic Front of the Philippines and the Romulo Jaliores Command of the New People's Army released captive soldiers First Lieutenant Ronaldo Fidelino and Private First Class Ronel Memeño. This day not only marks the soldiers' reunion with their families, but more significantly, it marks a victory for the revolutionary forces in undertaking another safe and orderly release of prisoners of war. Of more than 35 years, the Filipino people and their New People's Army, with the National Democratic Front as their vanguard, and with the leadership of the Communist Party of the Philippines, have been waging a revolutionary war against the local ruling classes, namely the big comprador bourgeoisie and landlords and other reactionary forces that represent U.S. imperialism, bureaucrat capitalism, and feudalism. In order to end the oppressive and exploitative semi-colonial and semi-feudal social system, revolutionaries and other progressive forces painstakingly advanced the People's Democratic Revolution of a national and democratic character with a socialist perspective. And in any armed conflict between two governing entities, naturally, there will be forces who will fall in the hands of the adverse power. Time and again, there will be prisoners of war. Maria Graciela Miranda was a former student in the University of the Philippines who, after learning about the movement, decided to work full-time in the NPA. She was captured by elements of the 22nd Infantry Battalion. She was brought to a military camp and was tortured. After 2 days, her slain body was found disrespectfully dumped in the area where she was captured. Casisa is only one of many noble NPA guerrillas who should have been declared as prisoners of war and accorded the consequent humanitarian treatment based on civilized and international laws of war.
Taas ang kamay!
Taas ang kamay! Wala pa rin!
March 1, 2004, the NPA Red Fighters defeated the 24-strong Special Intelligence Team of the 42nd Infantry Battalion of the Philippine Army on their way to a strike mission in a guerrilla zone in Tinambak, Camarines Sur.
Hindi ka maano?
Hindi ka maano?
Okay. Dara. Kapuluan niya, unalisyaw. Natapos ko na nakabibito. Huwag kang maano.
After surrendering to the NPA, First Lieutenant Fidelino and Private First Class Memeño were immediately declared prisoners of war. The term prisoners of war is defined in international humanitarian law. A according to the Third Geneva Convention relative to the treatment of prisoners of war, ratified on August 12, 1949, prisoners of war are persons belonging to the armed forces of one party in a conflict who have fallen into the hands of the enemy.
Ang Bagong Hukbong Bayan ay may sinusunod na mahigpit na mga alituntunin sa pangangalaga ng bihag na mas superior sa alinmang umiiral ng mga internasyonal na batas. Meron itong tatlong alituntunin sa disiplina at 8 puntong dapat tandaan o yung tinatawag ng mga kasama na 3-8 na mahigpit na ipinagbabawal ang anumang forma ng pag-torture at pananakit sa mga bihag nito. Salungat naman sa makataong pagtrato ng DHB sa kanyang mga nabibihag ay ang ginagawa ng Armed Forces of the Philippines sa mga nabibihag ng mga revolusyonaryong pwersa at kahit sa mga mamamayan na pinararatangan nilang mga kasapi ng NPA na pinapailalim sa iba't ibang forma ng torture, pananakit at hanggang sa pagpatay.
Mga kasama, pag may sumuko at wala nang kakayahang lumaban, huwag nang sasaktan. Kung may sugat, gamutin. Pag may nabihag tayo, tratuhin ng mahusay.
Ayon sa Ottawa Treaty, ang pwede natin gamitin mga eksplosibo, yung hindi siya puputok kung hindi natin i-command. Ang ginagamit natin ngayon, yung mga command detonated. Hindi tayo gumagamit ng gaya ng yung full pipe, saka yung pressure pipe, dahil hindi na yung command detonated.
Kasi halimbawa, jeep yan, bus, truck na pang civilian, kapag civilian ang nag-driver, dahil kabibirahin.
The NPA's 3 regulations of discipline and 8 points to remember surpass the conduct of war stipulated in international law. With or without international law, the CPP and its forces are able to wage a just war because they defend the Filipino people from any form of oppression in the spirit of their revolutionary aspirations.
Yung partido, Komunista ng Pilipinas, dati nang may pinapatupad na na mga batas para sa maayos at magandang pagtrato sa mga idinideklarang prisoner of war. Pero maliban dyan, nagkaroon pa ng pagtitibay ng isang dagdag na batas kaugnay sa kung paano ang mahusay na pagtrato sa mga prisoner of war, yung Karil, yung pinirmahan sa panahon ng panunungkulan ni Estrada, yung pinirmahan ng GRP at ng NDEP.
The Comprehensive Agreement on the Respect of Human Rights and International Humanitarian Law, or CARIL, is a victory for the revolutionary movement and the people because it is the application of international humanitarian law in the context of the ongoing civil war in the Philippines.
Ngayon, yung mga karapatan na ibinibigay sa mga prisoner of war, sabi halimbawa yung karapatan nilang makipag-komunika sa pamilya sa paraang sulat, voice tape, o kaya kung gusto nilang video footage, gano'n. Basta yung makakapaglabas ng kanilang damdamin, saka yung naipapakita nila sa pamilya nila na yung kalagayan nila.
Ang mensahe mo sa pamilya mo?
Sa aking asawa at anak, tatagay niyo lang ang loob niyo dahil sa aking baby sa pangalan namin, happy birthday.
Ang mensahe ko lang para sa pamilya ko na huwag sila mag-alala sa akin, nasa mabuting kalagayan naman ako. At sana darating din ang panahon na magkasama ka na at matulungan kami. Hindi naman ako nagpapabaya, hindi naman ako pinapabayaan dito.
Sa pa doon yung binibigay sa kanila yung pangangailangan nila. Yung gamot, yung atensyon, yung medical attention, tapos yung balancing pagkain, tapos Isa pa dyan yung, yung, halimbawa, kung nagre-request sila na gusto nilang gumamit ng radyo, yung transistor, yung mga dyaryo, nagpo-produce, nagsisikap tayo mag-produce yan. Tapos, binibigay natin yun sa kanila. Dahil wala tayong rehas, para sa kaligtasan at pagtitiyak din na rin ng custodian na hindi sila mapapahamak, ginagawa natin yun na pusasan sila. Pero bago naman yung ginagawa, sinasabi naman yun sa kanila na kayo po pusasan, ganito. Pinapaliwanag din naman sa kanila. Yung pribilehiyong may bibigay sa kanila, kapag umaga, yun, pinalisan silang concert. Tapos, malaya silang lakad-lakad dyan sa, nila, sa tubo. Pero siyempre, may mga restricted area rin tayong tinatakda. Sino-open din sa kanila yung pagpapaabot ng tula at saka obserbasyon sa mga kasama. Na kung may nakikita silang medyo maling pakikitungo, saka yung mishandling ba, napakalaki ng nila na magpaabot sa mga kasama, magtuna. Hindi yan isinasara sa kanila.
Una namin, yun nga sila, nalaman sila ng kanila, ibigay sila ng komento sa bawat isa. So kami din, hingin din ang mga comment, tinatawag nila ng pagtuna.
Malaya silang magsalita, kontra man yan o pabor, ganun yung karapatan ng pribilehiyo. Marami kaya lang, siyempre, mas sa actual na lang na, pinapakita yung, ganun. Ano ba, yung panapanahong pakikipag-usap sa kanila, yung pagpapaunawa ng, kung bakit nagkakaroon ng tunggalian, yung madugang konfrontasyon sa pagitan ng EAT at saka ng NPA, dahil siyempre doon sa tunggalian ng uri. Ang pinakamalaking dyan na naigagarantiya natin, hindi sila sinasaktan. Sa anumang anyo ng pananakit o hindi natin sila ginagawa ng ganun. Lalo na yung parte na aalimurain mo, yung mumurahin mo siya, o yung iinsultuhin mo, nahigpit na pinagbabawal yun ng silupan.
Binubugbog ka ba o sinasaktan o kahit anong forma ng pananakit? May mga ginagawa ba sa'yong ganyan?
Wala na.
Sa proseso, yung karapatan ginagarantiya ng karil at saka ng protocol para sa batas ng digma, mahusay naman na ipapatutan.
After First Lieutenant Fidelino's capture, he was presented charges of military abuses in San Andres Catanduanes and Balatan, Camarines Sur. At the onset, he was asked if he was present during these incidents in preparation for a trial in the People's Court.
Bilang prisoner of war ng Revolusyonarong Kilusan, sinampahan ng mga reklamo kaugnay ng war crimes at paglabag sa karapatang pantao si Lieutenant Fidelino sa ilalim ng hukumang bayan. Si Private First Class Nemenyo ay walang mga reklamong ihinain laban sa kanya. Bilang expression ng kapangyarihang pampolitika ng demokratikong gobyernong bayan, nagpapatupad ito ng isang sistema ng hustisyang walang kinikilingan at makatuwiran. Kaugnay nito, nagbubuo ito ng hukumang bayan upang litisin at parusahan ang mga malubhang krimen ng mga reaksyonaryong uri laban sa mamamayan at yung mga malubhang krimen mismo sa hanay ng mga mamamayan. Ang sistema ng revolusyonaryong hustisya ng Kilusan ay mahigpit na umaalinsunod sa sariling alituntunin ng demokratikong gobyernong bayan at maging sa mga internasyonal na batas. Hindi lahat ng mga kaso ay ikinakailalim pa sa hukumang bayan tulad ng mga kaso sa hanay o mga hidwaan sa hanay ng mamayan. Kadalasan ay naayos na lang ito sa pamamagitan ng mga komite sa arbitrasyon o konsilyasyon ng mga revolusyonaryong organisasyong masa sa kanayunan. Sa proseso ng pagpapatupad ng revolusyonaryong hustisya, mahigpit na iginagalang ng revolusyonaryong Kilusan ang karapatan sa due process o makatuwirang proseso ng paglilitis ng mga aksado. ginagarantiyahan yung kanilang karapatan sa karapatan na ipagtanggol yung kanilang sarili, karapatan na kumuha ng abogado o sino mang may kakayahan na ipagtanggol sila sa paglilitis ng hukumang bayan, at yung karapatan nila na iapila ang mga desisyon ng hukumang bayan hanggang sa mas mataas na antas ng revolusyonaryong hukumang bayan. May dalawang formal na reklamong nakasampa sa hukumang bayan laban kay Lieutenant Sibilino. Ang una ay ang kaso ng pagmasaker sa 3 sibilyang kapamilya ni Barangay Captain Ernesto Ani ng Kabanbanan, Balatan, Camarines Sur. Ang krimen ay nangyari noong July 29, 2003 kung saan ang mga sangkot na elemento ay ang mga tropa ng Bravo Company ng 42nd Infantry Battalion na pinamumunuan noon ni Lieutenant Sibilino. Ang ikalawang formal na reklamong kay Lieutenant Sibilino ay hinain ng Niriso San Juan Command ng NPA sa Catanduanes. Kaugnay ito ng mga paglabag sa karapatang pantao ni Lieutenant Sibilino at ng kanyang tropa habang sila ay naglulunsad ng operasyong militar noong Pebrero 4 sa Barangay Puting Baybay, San Andres, Catanduanes. Kabilang sa mga reklamo sa kanya ay ang illegal na pag-aresto, illegal na paghahalughog, panununtok at pagmumura ni Lieutenant Sibilino kay Barangay Captain Juan Briones, pananakot sa mamamayan at pagnanakaw ng mga kagamitan ng mamamayan. Ang mga reklamo laban kay Lieutenant Sibilino ay formal na binasa sa kanya at binigyan siya ng pagkakataon na magdepensa at sagutin ang mga reklamo laban sa kanya. Bagamat walang nangyaring formal na paglilitis dahil sinuspende ito sa pamamagitan ng desisyon ng National Executive Council ng National Democratic Front, at kaugnay nga nito ay nagdesisyon ang NDFP na palihain si Lieutenant Sibilino batay sa makataong batayan.
The trial was suspended because it was superseded by the decision of their release on humanitarian grounds. The CPP, NPA, and DFP were very much prepared to release the 2 prisoners of war.
This decision granted the pleas of the families of the prisoners and that of the media, such people, human rights groups, and the public.
Instead of negotiating with the NDFP, the GRP chose to launch inane and futile rescue operations. The military's objective is not to rescue the prisoners of war, but to take revenge on the NPA, especially on the custodial forces. They are willing to sacrifice the lives of their fellow soldiers only to save themselves from embarrassment.
Halos ang Ramuan Peninsula ay dinumog ng 9 ID. Yung sabi ko yung 42nd halos full yung batalyon ng 42nd halos ubos yan na gumampan bilang rescue operation. Saka yung Tarseters humugot din sila ng pwersa ron. Saka doon sa 22nd humugot din sila ng pwersa, at saka mula doon sa 2nd Batalyon ng Sorsogon humugot din sila ng pwersa. Maliban tayo siyempre doon sa sa isang batalyon na Scout Ranger, yung 3rd Scout Ranger Batalyon na nakapakat, at saka yung bago nilang buong batalyon, yung 65th IB, ang bago nilang buo, pinakat yun dito, no? Tapos kasabay doon sa mga ilang batalyon pang Catgo na ginamit nila, nag-request pa sila sa Solcom ng siguro hindi bababa sa isang kumpanya ng Special Forces. Tapos yung mga bagong training na bahagi na, kumbaga sinabay na nila yung test mission, yung rescue. Hindi rin yata bababa yun sa isang kumpanya o hindi rin lalaki sa isang batalyon ng Scout Ranger. Kaya kung titingnan natin halos yung pwersang ikinasa ng kaaway sa loob ng buong dalawang buwan, yung rescue operation simula Marso hanggang first week ng May, before yung election, ay tuloy-tuloy na ginamit ang ganong kalaking pwersa. Mas ang nakikita pa namin, yung kaaway mismo yung nawawala na sa sarili dahil masa yung binabalikan. So, hindi naman kaila yung mga nabalitang mga dinukot na halos umabot ngayon sa 24 katao na mga nawawala. Tapos nalaman na lang yung iba, yung 4 yata yun o 5, nabubulok na yung bangkay, no? Na-recover na lang na nabubulok na yung bangkay. Maliban pa yan, doon sa mga inaresto, diba, yung pamilya ng ilang mga kasama, yung magulang ng kasama, inaresto. Yung mga pinaghihinalaan nilang mga postera, yung mga supportadores ng NPA, pinaguhuli ng army. Ang iba, i-detain ng doon sa Manaknao, i-detach ng Manaknao. Ang iba naman ay dinala sa Balod-Balod. Tapos maliban pa dyan, marami tayong yung mga satulitang pinagdadampot, diba, yung mga masang nagtatrabaho sa mga medyo matataas ng bahagi ng kabundukan, tapos yung sa mga bukid nila, bawat madaanan ng operasyon ng kaaway, pinipilit nilang gawing giya. Tapos yung iba, hindi na nakakauwi. Yung iba naman, kapag naagapan ng mga barangay official at saka ng taong barangay, na ibabalik. Pero nabubugbog na muna. Tapos nandoon yung pinagbawalang magpunta sa bukid yung mga tao kahit yung hanap buhay nila, at napaka brutal na ng ginagawa ng army sa mga panahon yun.
Lalong nagpatigas yung AFP at TNT at matagal na panahon ayaw mag-issue ng required SOMO and SOPO. At sa reports ay continuous yung kanilang military operations at trying to rescue, at the same time committing violations of human rights among the communities. And this shows, I think, the hand of the militarists in the regime who feel ashamed that they lost in that encounter, in that tactical offensive.
In the midst of all-out military operations, the NDFP kept its lines open for negotiations regarding the release of the 2 prisoners of war.
Less than 1 week after the capture of Lieutenant Fidelino and Private First Class Limenyo in a legitimate tactical offensive of the NPA, the NPA issued a statement that they were willing to release the 2 for humanitarian reasons, and that negotiations could be made by the GRP with the negotiating panel. Pero walang move from the GRP. Apparently, they tried rescue operations, and it was only on April 3 in the morning in Oslo that Chairman Bello of the GRP panel gave me the letter requesting the release of the 2 on humanitarian grounds. Sinabi ko na sa kanya noon na ang kailangan na lang ay mag-issue ng SOMO at SOPO yung GRP. Ngunit, since April 3, tumagal ito at walang sagot mula kay Chairman Bello. At nung pinalo up, wala pa raw SOMO at SOPO na na-arrange. It was only in late July 23, na nakatanggap kami ng balita na handa yung AFP at TNT mag-issue ng SOMO at SOPO, ngunit ang gusto nila ay sikreto, at ito for 20 days. This SOMO and SOPO that was secret was full of danger because according to a spokesman of the Philippine Army, say Lieutenant Colonel Ventura Pascual, nakahanda na sila for rescue operations, and that they wanted really to sort of parang salvage their name, kasi parang napahiya sila doon na talo sa encounter doon sa Tinambak. Secondly, kitang-kita naman yung pag-carry out ng NPA ng Geneva Conventions, and protocols. Dahil gusto rin ng NDF na maisagawa yung release, pumayag na rin yung NDF at saka nag-issue din ng corresponding ceasefire order for the New People's Army. Ngunit, nagkaroon ng problema dahil nung i-set na yung release sana ng August 7, nagkaroon ng report sa August 6 na mayroong mga troop movements, violations of the SOMO and SOPO by the AFP and TNP in 4 towns in Camarines Sur and 2 towns in Albay. At napinsala in a sense itong ICRC, International Committee of the Red Cross, kasi bumiyahe na sila ng umaga ng August 6. At by the time na inform namin sila, ay 10 kilometers na lang sila from Legazpi City. So we had to inform them na hindi matutuloy dahil dito sa violations ng SOMO and SOPO. Nag-offer pa nga yung mga puwersa sa Bicol na kung mag-comply right away, eh mayroong possibility baka ma-release pa on August 11 or 12. At bago mag-expire yung SOMO and SOPO ng August 15. Pero doon sa reports from Bicol ay hindi clear yung compliance. Kaya nag-demand ngayon yung rightfully nag-demand yung mga pwersa sa Bicol, yung Romulo Halleros Command, CPP at NDFP sa Bicol, na kailangan na extension ng SOMO at SOPO at saka kailangan open and public na itong SOMO and SOPO and the corresponding ceasefire order. Kaya on August 13, after several negotiations with Chairman Bello and Congressman Andaya, napag-agrihan na meron extension ng SOMO at SOPO starting August 15. Ito ay magiging public and then there will be no more denials of the SOMO and SOPO by AFP and TNP officers, and that the release, the SOMO and SOPO will extend up to 1 week after the actual date of the release. Ngunit si Secretary Ermita ng DND nagbigay pa ng note na dapat yung release would be within 3 days after August 15. Kaya finally, pumayag na rin yung Romulo Halleros Command ng NPA at CPP, NDFP sa Bicol na pwedeng maisagawa yung release at nag-participate na rin yung ICRC. Step ay yung custodial unit ay dadalhin yung prisoner of war doon sa papunta sa ICRC. At saka may medical officer yan ng NPA that will check the prisoner of war before turning over to the ICRC. The ICRC officially receives the prisoner of war and also makes its own check-up and gives its own briefing. Then the ICRC moves to the next step and sends the prisoner of war over to the GRC officials. The GRC officials receive, and then after that, the GRC officials bring the prisoner of war to the families and the media. If possibly, they will have their own procedure of bringing to the AFP command. In past state and orderly releases, it would be arranged between the GRP and NDFP in adequate time. Usually, yung nagkakaroon ng SOMO and SOPO at corresponding NPA ceasefire for 4 or 5 weeks, at usually for 4 or more provinces. Pagkatapos niyan, i-verify ng NPA command doon sa region, sa provinces, kung meron talagang compliance with the SOMO and SOPO. At saka pagka na-verify yan, let's say for 1 week or 10 days, magkakaroon na ng concrete arrangements with the ICRC, maghahanap ng appropriate place for the release, magko-contact na rin to those who will participate. So these are the usual steps, and they have proven to be very effective in the safe and orderly releases of quite a number of prisoners of war, like General Ovilio and Captain Monte Alto, Major Bernal, Major Francisco, Sergeant Magtagat, Sergeant Rosada, Major Noel Buwan. Yung isang case na nagkaroon ng frakaso ay yung release sana ni Major Abelardo Martin. Nakahanda na yung release order at saka order for ceasefire for the NPA, ngunit si General Angelo Reyes, Chief of Staff noon ng AFP, refused to give the SOMO. Instead, they tried a rescue operation with the use of the Scout Rangers past midnight. Nabanggol yung rescue operation. They were firing at their own officers. Namatay tuloy si Major Martin. Kaya sinasabi namin, for the release of the prisoners of war, the proven successful release and safe release is through negotiations, through the issuance of SOMO and SOCO and corresponding NPA ceasefire, and the participation of the International Committee of the Red Cross.
This particular experience has unique lessons we can refer to for subsequent negotiations for the release of prisoners of war.
So, nakikita natin dito na yung danger na sa matagalan na ayaw mag-issue ng SOMO at SOCO at patuloy yung military operations at pati yung danger ng secret SOMO and SOCO at yung trying to limit two provinces at saka shorter period. So, we have to be aware of this so that in future cases, there will be the requirement na yung SOMO and SOCO must be of sufficient time, sufficient coverage, and should be public and not secret.
Through the humane treatment and the safe and orderly release of the prisoners of war, the revolutionary movement once more proved that it has acquired a status of belligerency.
Sa status of belligerency, makikita natin na dapat mayroong sufficient territory na nako-cover yung political force, no? Pag sinabi natin 128 guerrilla fronts in 8,500 barrios in 700 to 800 municipalities in 69 provinces, that fulfills the requirement of territory. Tapos kung sabihin natin yung support of the people and recognition by the people of this political force as a national liberation movement, into the millions na yan pagka tinignan itong 8,500 villages, no? So that also the requirement of the part of the population that gives its support. In fact, hindi lang doon sa 8,500 barrios, yung supportan niyan extends beyond that. Pagkatapos nandiyan na merong programa talaga, long-term program for the benefit of the people. So nandiyan yung land reform, nandiyan yung health, nandiyan yung education. Tapos nandiyan pa yung organs of political power. Meron na existing na People's Democratic Government in the villages, no? Tapos nandiyan pa yung New People's Army with the Central Command and discipline, carrying out international humanitarian law. Dito na yung mga requisites for the status of belligerency. Yung pag-release ng POW at saka pagbigay ng humane treatment sa POW for this period of time ay isa pang prueba, no? Evidence and proof na yung CPP-NPA and DFP ay nag-acquire na ng status of belligerency. Kasi yung CPP-NPA and DF nagpapakita na it is a responsible revolutionary force that carries out international humanitarian law. Yung pagbigay ng humane treatment at bigay ng safety dito sa dalawa over this period also shows that the CPP, NPA, NDF have a certain amount of territory na pwedeng kumilos, a certain amount of political support of the people, and a capability not only in carrying out tactical offenses but also in carrying out programs. Kaya lahat ito makita natin after 35 years of struggle, it has acquired the status of belligerency. It cannot be considered just a police problem or a criminal group or not even as an insurgency. It is a co-belligerent. Yung recognition of the status of belligerency ay fruit na rin ng political, diplomatic work ng revolutionaryong kilusan. Pagka nakikilala ng European Parliament na good itong peace negotiations o nagkakaroon ng sponsorship ng peace talks by the Norwegian government, by the Belgian government, by the Dutch government, at meron na rin sort of pagkilala yung International Committee of the Red Cross, at ito lang sa nangyari ngayon sa release nitong dalawa ay maraming humahanga sa humane treatment na binibigay nito. At yung recognition of the status of belligerency is increasing and will increase further in the future.
Another factor that strengthens the CPP, NPA, and DFP's status of belligerency is the existence of the peace talks between the GRP and the NDFP. The release of the prisoners of war also became significant to the peace talks.
Unang-una, nagpapakita ng maliwanag at very firmly that the NPA, CPP, and NDF are complying with Karil. So, Karil is being implemented. Second, the NDF, CPP, and NPA are complying with the Geneva Conventions and protocols. And then, it also enhances the atmosphere for peace negotiations.
Part of the Oslo Joint Statement signed between the GRP and the NDFP negotiating panels on February 14, 2004 is the undertaking of concrete steps for the removal of the CPP, NPA, and Professor Jose Maria Sison from the U.S. terrorist list.
In the concrete right now, since the U.S. and the European Union and Canada and Australia have put NPA and Professor Sison, and U.S. and some countries, CPP also on the terrorist list, this release of the prisoners of war and compliance with Karil, compliance with the Geneva Conventions, is one more concrete proof that the CPP and NPA are not terrorists. They comply with international humanitarian law. In fact, if we compare the treatment of the CPP NPA of its prisoners of war with the treatment of the U.S. of its prisoners in Abu Ghraib in Iraq and in Guantanamo, we see the stark contrast. The U.S., which dares to brand the CPP NPA as terrorists, is actually carrying out inhuman, cruel, and degrading treatment against prisoners of war in Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo, while the CPP NPA, branded by this USA as terrorists, is carrying out the most clearly humane treatment towards the prisoners of war and comply with the Geneva Conventions and protocols. This is one strong concrete proof, very visible, very clear, na the CPP NPA is not terrorist. And also that goes with it that kasama Jose Maria Sison, the NDFP chief political consultant, is also one of the main architects for the issuance of the adherence to the Geneva Conventions and protocols, together with Antonio Zumel, our hero also, the first NDFP chairman, na hindi ito terorista si kasamang Joma, hindi terorista yung CPP-NPA.
The revolutionary forces, with the support of the Filipino people, continuously wage armed struggle to build an independent and democratic government of the people. With the firm grasp of the discipline and rules deeply ingrained in their consciousness, the comrades strive to wage a humane people's war.